And so 2018 is closing down. Hey guys, Timzster here, and I'm just looking back at some of the stuff, the awesome stuff that we had in 2018. Some of them at least. I'll be naming some of them here in this video, and I haven't done a video in a while. I've been so busy with conventions and events and whatnot, I just haven't had the time. I haven't had the time to sit down, to record, to do something like this. Well, it's almost time for New Year's Eve. As of this recording, it's December 30, and by tomorrow, we'll be saying goodbye to 2018. And what a year it has been for me. I mean, I got to go to New York Comic Con. I got to see some epic superhero movies. I got to play some of the most awesome games to be made for consoles, specifically the PlayStation 4, like God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2, and of course, what is personally for me my favorite game of the year, Spider-Man for the PS4. Right there, I have the poster in the back. Yeah, I narrow it down actually. I can't really stress how many things I've enjoyed this year. There's just too many to count, too many to enumerate. From actually going to the press conference of Aquaman and seeing Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and director James Wan, to watching Avengers Infinity War, and before that, a week before, we had a live stream with Benedict Cumberbatch, Karen Gillan, and one of the Russo brothers. And they were wishing us well to watch the movie, and I was part of the cosplay assembly in SM Mega to actually participate in that Avengers Infinity War fan event. In fact, I have the Infinity War gauntlet right here. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There's just so much I'd like to say about 2018. There were ups and downs, personally and in the event scene. So I can't really say that it was a perfect year. But we do our best. We just try to make the most out of it. And the same will be said of 2019. I mean, after all, Avengers Infinity War is an example in itself. It ended with a cliffhanger. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched it yet. Thanos got his victory, and the heroes have to find a way to regroup and win. And I don't know how. If you watch the teaser trailer for Avengers Endgame, that's the title for the next movie, it will be a hard crawl back for Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and the rest of the survivors to make a comeback from this. It was just sad. It was a really sad ending. But other than that, you know that it's going to end with a bang. And before that, we're going to see Captain Marvel. Brie Larson is going to be coming as Carol Danvers. And that's a lot. Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home, the next Spider-Man movie, and the beginning of Phase 4 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But to topic, we are going to be talking about the best, for me, personally, of 2018 in terms of comics, games, and movies. And it's pop culture, so I enjoyed it. So let's begin with the comics. For me, the best series that I've followed thus far would definitely have to go to Tom King and Batman. I mean, I know, the Batcat wedding. There's a lot of mixed opinions about that, but I'm a Batman fan, and I really love Tom King's work on Batman. He's done a stellar job since Rebirth began in 2016, leading up to this. And that's only part of the story. He still has 50 plus issues more to go till the end of his run on Batman, and he's been doing well. Here, of course, you see Batman and Catwoman trying to tie the knot together, and it's been an epic trip down memory lane and getting the blessings of heroes, friends, and villains alike, including the Joker himself. So I'd recommend this trade paperback if you didn't collect the singles, which I did, and I also got the trade paperback. Tom King writes a steady Batman story in each issue he does. He leaves a mark. And I haven't been this invested in Batman since, well, the pre-New 52 days when Batman Incorporated happened with Grant Morrison. It's just that good. It goes back to post-crisis history and tries to restore it. That's what DC Rebirth was all about. And it has lasting effects in the continuity of Batman. In fact, spoiler alert again, after this, since it didn't go so well, Batman ditched the Rebirth costume and went back to his classic look. Well, year one, or, regular black bat symbol, like this cap. And, yeah, the trunks are back, just like Superman. So they're bringing back the classics. All the way to pave the way to Detective Comics 1000, which is coming next year. So that's why 2019 is a big year for Batman, because it's his 80th anniversary. 2018 also celebrated Superman's 80th. So that was another achievement. But that's my number one pick. Tom King's Batman run. And I was lucky enough to meet the writer in New York Comic Con. That was awesome. Actually, I have the comic and signature here. I'll show it to you. Right there. So you can see that it is epic. It was an epic 2018 in that regard. Okay, next, Spider-Man by Nick Spencer. Surprisingly, after Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man, we are continuing the adventures of Peter Parker. He's back to basics. And Nick Spencer, coming from his run in Captain America and Secret Empire, made the awesome transition, amazing transition rather, to Spider-Man. And I can't recommend it enough. It reminds me so much of the Spider-Man before Brand New Day, before Dan Slott made his mark. It's just grounded back into Peter Parker and all of the changes that happened to him ever since. In fact, the runner-up to this is Spider-Geddon, the sequel to Spider-Verse, which just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. And, well, I can't spoil that. You have to read it. It just leads to 2 new spin-off books. You have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, of course, the half Hispanic, half African-American Spider-Man, spinning off from the Ultimate Universe, who made his way to Earth 616. And Superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock. He's back in the costume. Why? Read Spider-Geddon. So that's my picks for Marvel and DC. That's Nick Spencer's Spider-Man for Marvel and Tom King's Batman for DC, respectively. And events go for DC. I'm reading Doomsday Clock and Heroes in Crisis, so I can't really recommend that yet because they're not yet finished, but they're awesome. They're awesome. So if you want to wait for the trade, wait for the trade. But if you want to pick it up, you still can. They're good. And that's it for the comics. What's next? Let's go to games. Games, we have 2 awesome ones. We have God of War, Santa Monica Studio and Sony. This is another epic. It has been nominated as Game of the Year in the Game Awards. And with good reason too. It just tells an epic story. A sequel to the God of War series of the past. Or a soft reboot for that matter. Putting Kratos in Norse mythology. I mean, he was done with Greek mythology, and now he's raising a son, Atreus. And both father and son, boy, take an epic journey through Norse mythology, visiting familiar elements from Norse mythology, rather. And, well, I can't say enough. It's just an epic adventure. It changes God of War for the better. But you must play it. It's I mean, if you get a PlayStation 4, you have to get this game. Absolutely. 100% recommended. Other than that, this is multi-platform though. Red Dead Redemption 2. I've been a fan since the first. And this is a prequel actually, telling the story of Arthur Morgan, a cowboy who rides with Duchess Gang. For those who are familiar with Red Dead Redemption, Duchess Gang is the group that the former protagonist, John Marston, from the first Red Dead Redemption, belongs to. Now, you play an outlaw, you play bank robbers, you play guys in the Old West trying to survive against the law, and anything goes in the West. And the production values for this are just as good as God of War. I mean, Norse mythology, and the Old West. But of, as much as I like both of these games, I still have to give it to Insomniac Games for Spider-Man. It's been my favorite game ever since I started playing it in September. The DLCs are out, and you have multiple costumes to breeze from, like the Raimi suit. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy suit that was worn by Tobey Maguire is the latest DLC for this game. What I'm holding here is the prequel book, Hostile Takeover, which I got in New York when I visited last October during New York Comic Con. Actually, I have the shirt here. New York Comic Con. It's a good year for Spider-Man, and this game highlights it. It just makes you feel like Spider-Man. They took the best from Spider-Man 2 back in the PlayStation 2, incorporated that web slinging element, and added the science stuff that Peter Parker geeks out on. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years. He has a relationship, of course, with Mary Jane Watson, and he encounters familiar foes. Stuff that I will not spoil, but if you had to get a PlayStation, aside from God of War, you have to get Spider-Man. It's a PS exclusive, and it's the reason why Spider-Man is an awesome, awesome hero. And I'm really glad I got to play it. Must own for PlayStation. So we're done with the games. Now, what else? Special mention, sorry. I got a Nintendo Switch. I picked this up in Black Friday. And, of course, if you get a Switch, there's one game you have to get in the Switch. And that's Super Smash Brothers. Okay, let me just show you guys. Here we go. Super Smash Brothers. It's just a must-own for any Nintendo Switch owner. It came out this month, December 7th. And I've been having fun non-stop. Everybody's there. Solid Snake, Ryu, Cloud Strife, from Metal Gear, Street Fighter, and Final Fantasy respectively, fighting against Nintendo mainstays like Mario, Pikachu, Kirby. There's just a lot. So, here we go. Smash Brothers. Special mention. I am having fun playing this game. But I chronicled it in one of my other videos, which you can find in my Facebook page, Timzster. That's Timzster. So be sure to visit. Okay, and we are gonna go to the movies. We'll start with the bottom. My other favorites. We have Mission Impossible Fallout. That was an awesome action movie. I can't recommend it enough. It just ups the ante. You have Tom Cruise back as Ethan Hunt leading his team. And added to the cast is Superman himself, Henry Cavill. High-octane action. Fun. But I wouldn't really put it on my top list, or top 3 rather. That would go to Avengers Infinity War. Again, I mentioned it earlier in the beginning of this video. A lot of things happened, consequences, a cliffhanger ending, the stakes were high, and we just have to ride to 2019 till Avengers Endgame comes to resolve that. We had feels for this. Thanos, for all his villainy, isn't really the villain here. He just had a set of beliefs he wanted to see through, and with the Infinity Gauntlet and the snap of his fingers, the Snappening happened. So, a must watch. It's out in Blu-ray. Other than that, of course, I shouldn't forget about the King of the Seven Seas. I just mentioned I saw Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, and director James Wan, Team Aquaman, and Aquaman. Wow, it puts the DC Universe back on track in film. The DC Extended Universe, rather. Aquaman. So that's my second pick. It's a good movie. The effects are spectacular. I never thought I'd be happy to see a DC movie that isn't a DC movie, if you get my reference. This is one. James Wan directed a beautiful superhero movie, and he's just known for horror movies, in particular like The Conjuring, Saw films, and Insidious. And he directed Furious 7, of course, but this is his first stab into superhero territory, and he knocks it off the park. Amber Heard as Mera, Nicole Kidman as Queen Atlanta, the mother of Aquaman, Patrick Wilson as Orm, Ocean Master. You have Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin from the Spider-Man films, as Volko, the guy who trains Aquaman. And yeah, it's a epic cast with Jason Momoa just acting the part so well. As I said, it's like Robert Downey Jr. to Iron Man. This is Jason Momoa to Aquaman. It's the DC Extended Universe movie that we need to put the DC Films universe back on track. But while I like this movie, my number one pick absolutely has to go to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Wow. I'm a Spider-Man guy. I've been reading Spider-Man since I was a kid. And Spider-Man got me back into comic collecting seriously. That was the run by J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr., which introduced Morlun and Ezekiel. And this pays tribute to every aspect of Spider-Man. Miles Morales, played by Shamik Moore, is the main character here, but every other Spider-Man is given credit and attention too. I mean, Peter Parker, I won't spoil, but Peter Parker's Spider-Man is represented well here, as is Spider-Gwen, Spider, SP/-DR, Penny Parker's robot. Then you have Spider-Man Noir, who's voiced by Nicolas Cage, and the spectacular Spider-Ham is also here. So representations here for Spider-Man. Absolutely beautiful. It's a love letter to comic books as it is to Spider-Man fans. Beautifully animated film. You gotta watch it in IMAX 3D to appreciate the visuals. And I can't wait to get this in home video. I mean, the only time I get to see it, or a sneak peek for that matter, is here with Venom. I have it in Blu-ray. So, Tom Hardy. It's an okay movie. Special mention to this. I watched this in New York. Not perfect. I'm kind of sad that there were no Spider-Man references directly here. But it's part of the larger Spider multiverse, which is opened here in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And a shout out goes out to Columbia Pictures for bringing this here and inviting me and my Spider-Verse PH family to seeing the movie. Just wow. It's really good. Special shout out to them again. So that's my list for 2018. It was fun. Of course, we can't end this without bringing up one of the saddest things to happen just last month and before the year ends. Our favorite Marvel guy, the man himself, Stan Lee, passed away at the age of 95. And everybody was in mourning. Yesterday, during a Christmas party, I was lucky to get this as a gift. A Life of Marvel, Stan Lee. It's a tribute magazine by Entertainment Weekly, and it talks about the life and the influence of Stan Lee Lieber, better known as Stan Lee, who co-created some of the best Marvel characters that we know, like Spider-Man, Black Panther, the Hulk, Iron Man, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. His mark in comic books has been everlasting, and of course, you've seen him in the numerous cameos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Even the distinguished competition, DC Comics, acknowledges Stan Lee for his mark in comic books. He's a legend, and Spider-Verse PH and I paid tribute to him in many ways. You can visit us in facebook.com/SpiderversePH to see some of those adventures, including in Cosplay Matsuri, the last cosplay convention we had this year, where my friend Spider-Dan cosplayed as Spider-Man as a tribute, and our team wished him a happy birthday. Stan's birthday is on December 28th. So we celebrated what would have been his 96th birthday and honored him. Thank you, Stan. Rest in peace, and know that we will always appreciate your works as a Spidey fan and as a Marvel fan, as a comic book collector and fan in general. Excelsior. And with that, I just want to say Happy New Year to you guys. I'm looking forward to 2019. There's a lot of stuff down in the dock that we have to look forward to. And anticipate. So hopefully I will be back with another video and talk about something new soon. But for now, this is Timzster wishing you a belated Merry Christmas and a happy New Year. You can follow me at Facebook, facebook.com/TIMZSTER, Timzster. Twitter, it's the Timzster, THE, then TIMZSTER. While Instagram is simply Timzster. So, see you guys and have a great 2019 ahead.